Hello, my friends. It's Andy Falco Jimenez coming to you live on the Andy Falco Show. And it's just turning out to be a weekly event, giving updates about what's going on in our community in the Placentia Yorba Unified School District in particular. But we're finding that all the stuff that's kind of happening in the community is somehow affecting what's happening in PYLUSD in some way. We'll jump right into it because I have to go pick up my kids.
Yes.
And I don't want to.
We can't be long-winded today.
If I leave them stranded, they will start posting that I'm a horrible dad and I abuse my children.
And that you park in the handicap spot.
Yeah, when I had a handicap placard.
Exactly.
They took a picture of the back of my car, not
the front.
No, where it's hanging. So I want to start right away and address something that came up, and we'll continue on this ICE discussion because this is really important.
Yes.
This kind of explains why you chose to run several years ago and why I started getting involved in doing these shows is basically we have members of our community that are essentially operatives for the teachers union.
Yes.
A lot of them. Some of them are
the Democrat Party.
And the Democrat Party, of course. That are I'm really trying to choose my words better, and I'm going to try not to laugh because my wife told me not to laugh. But there are people that are just simply naive.
Yes.
I use other words to describe that, but they just buy into some of these narratives, and those include kids. And when you have teachers, which are supposed to be trusted adults that are also spewing this stuff on a daily basis, they see our kids 45 minutes a day, every day, Monday through Friday. This begins to become part of their language because they think that what they're saying is true. So I want to bring up this graphic of where to go. There it is. This is a post that popped up on Yorba Linda Moms. Is that Instagram? People send me these screenshots. I don't even know where they're from.
This was Instagram because it started exploding last night whenever they posted this.
Yeah. So it says the time is. Oh, go ahead.
But I mean, come on now. Are we going to talk about cooperation? Can we not spell cooperate?
No. I can't talk about spelling because I get things wrong all the time.
Well,
but
I did too. But I mean, never mind. I'm not going to make the joke that somebody made earlier to me.
Okay.
Go on.
So it says the time is right to do what's right. And then, of course, it brings your name into this. It says Leandra Blades wants cooperation with ICE in PYLUSD.
Imagine wanting cooperation with
law enforcement.
The whole resolution that I brought forward, if everybody actually reads it, it talks about just cooperating with ICE, cooperating with law enforcement, and, cooperation. Because as what we're seeing is there's several examples, from teachers handing out ICE cards and how not to cooperate.
Yep.
I believe as a board, we have to sit there and we have to say, like, okay, this is going to be our view. Like, this is the leadership, and if the other three board members don't want to, vote for it, then that's fine. But at least I brought forward something that says this needs to come from the top. Like, somebody has to lead this and say, yes, we will cooperate, because we have a lot of teachers who are saying, I won't let the ICE here. I won't do this. I won't do that. And so they're telling this into their classroom. So who is the actual voice of reason to keep these kids actually out of trouble, which will take you back to the screen? Right.
So here is what it says here. It says an El Dorado student was wrongfully detained. So we don't know who wrote this necessarily. We have our ideas.
We don't know who wrote it. We don't know who the kid is.
Nothing.
But
just an El Dorado student. So they're saying it's a student. So they're trying to place it somewhere in the school or give people the reader to believe that it has to do with the school somehow. Was wrongfully detained by ICE and held at gunpoint. The student reported, in red, it says, they chased me to my house, and when they got a hold of me, they tossed me to the floor, pointed a gun at me, and asked if I had papers. Now, I'm going to stop there for a second. As a law enforcement officer for 21 years, I taught in the Orange County Sheriff's Academy for years. And I taught police officers all over the world. I don't know one police officer that says, show me your papers.
No. I've never asked for papers.
ICE doesn't even say that.
Or giggling.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we have to laugh at the absurdity sometimes, but we do ask, what's your name? What's your date of birth? And if during the pat down, if we find a wallet, we'll often get their driver's license.
Well, I think too, what we're missing too in that first thing is they chased me.
Yeah.
So you ran
from
the police. So you run from the police and they chase you, and then you get like upset that they threw you to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're now, so this is where we go back to the teachers who, who are passing out the ICE cards and saying, you don't have to cooperate, do this, shut your door, or you could do all of these things to evade ICE. This is actually getting the students in trouble. because they're being misinformed.
Right.
And so there has to be something that comes from leadership that says to all these kids, hey, cooperate. It's like the ice baby son. Stop, cooperate, and listen.
Yes. On top of that, I've taught like I said, in the Sheriff's Academy in the 90s and in the 2000s.
Okay.
And I taught specific classes called ped checks, which is pedestrian stops, where you stop somebody or you stop to talk to somebody.
Right.
And the one thing I always taught is that don't chase somebody that just runs.
Right.
There's no more felony running,
right,
as we used to say.
Yes.
What'd you catch him? What did he do? He was felony running.
Yeah.
Because
it just doesn't work.
Because if they get hit by a car, if they fall off a fence and break their leg, and you have nothing other than they just ran, then there's a liability issue. So understand that running from the police alone is probably not what happened here. In general, a police officer believes the person they're about to stop when they run are either in the act of committing a crime, or they have a warrant for their arrest, or maybe somebody reported a crime and identified this person as the subject. So the fact that he ran means there's more to the story, not just that he ran.
And I think too, when people don't realize is that a lot of times too, if people are riding bikes and they don't have a light on their bike at night, that's a safety hazard. So that would be that would be something that pedestrians get pulled over for all the time at night. Is no light on your bike, certain criteria, especially when they're wearing all black and you can't see them. It's fix-it ticket. But
so then he says, after realizing the student was a U.S. citizen, ICE agents, we didn't even know these were ICE agents.
Right.
It could be just law
it
enforcement.
could have been Placentia police.
Claimed they stopped him because of a bike infraction. So we know it's not ICE because ICE doesn't stop people for bike infractions.
Right.
Law enforcement, police officers, city police officers, or sheriff deputies stop people for bike infractions.
Right.
So that's already a contradiction in this supposed story that somebody either made up or actually experienced. They then accused the student of being involved in a gang and called gang unit to investigate. Okay, whether they were a gang member. Shortly afterward, the student was taken to the county jail, which I'll stop there. If he was taken to the county jail, he's an adult. He could be an adult that's in El Dorado High School, could be, but this is an adult. What they want you to believe is that a student in one of our schools, and the first picture people get is that, oh my gosh, too bad for the 14-year-old or 15-year-old or what have you. This is an adult that ran because he said he was taken to jail. On top of that, we would not take anybody as a law enforcement officer that worked in Orange County. In general, he says there was an infraction. You don't take people to jail for an infraction.
Not at all.
We often don't take people to jail for a misdemeanor. We often cite them out unless there's underlying circumstances, say they fought with a law enforcement officer in being taken into custody. Right. If they found a warrant or something else, if it was just a misdemeanor, they would just have cited them out.
Yes.
And the jails are too full. They don't want to take the time. There's a lot of things that go into taking somebody to jail. You got to get them fingerprinted and photographed. And to book them in Orange County Jail, it's a whole process.
Yeah, it's huge.
So again, we're not talking about a kid who ran from ICE. I can almost guarantee that.
Well, I think this just goes to show that this page is just so full of misinformation all the time. They talked about misinformation about Chernus, about Ryan Miller, about Maria Stubbs, about myself, about other conservatives and Republicans, on this page. And everything that they always say is just, there's no sense to it. It's lies, but they just keep publishing it to state a point. And I think this is a perfect example of them doing this.
So just a little further, just to finish this up, it says, meanwhile, despite this incident, Leandra Blades continues to push the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District to cooperate with ICE. So
I didn't even know about this incident until I went up, and then the first line, like literally last night, people started sending it to me, and they go, "We're unfollowing this page. It's ridiculous."
Yep.
But what I did notice when I did, when I pulled up, I said, "They chased." I go, "So you ran?" Like, I don't know what to say. You ran. So here we go. And I don't know. I just don't have any words for this. But yeah, you know what? Like, the resolution clearly states that we're going to cooperate with ICE and law enforcement. And we need to have that discussion about what that exactly is. Because like I told somebody the other day, they asked me, they said, well, why would ICE need to come on? I said, I think it's a very rare situation that ICE would have to come on to.
So far, I've not been able to find any time where ICE has gone on to a campus of any sort to arrest a student during school hours.
But so you do have the instances where what if somebody's running from ICE and ICE.
Like what happened in Minnesota.
Exactly.
Yep.
What happens if you have all these things that happen on your campus? What happens if someone's I mean, this would be just for any police department. What happens if a family member is taken into custody and they need to contact the child from the school?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not, you can't find anybody. So sometimes you have to go deal with that at the school and talk about these things. So there's so many things, you know, like we had a horrendous murder one time, and this mom had just dropped her kid off at school. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, she was murdered when she got home. Couldn't find anybody to go contact the school. So we had some law enforcement officers out there, and we had to find a way, you know, to, you know, facilitate the child back to the police station and, you know, all these things. And so there's all kinds of things when we say we're going to cooperate it. So now what we're having is these teachers are causing more of a ruckus by telling them to evade ICE and getting in the middle of this. And so that's what needs to be stopped. There needs to be some clarity for the community and our parents. And once again, too, this has just been highly politicized. I mean, here you are, we're starting to get from the usual suspects, you know, emails saying, keep this off the agenda. This is just political theater. Well, no, it's actually not, because this is a big safety issue. Absolutely. But it's actually Yorba Linda moms advocating for people, the same yahoos, you know, to email and to, you know, try to keep things off the agenda. And a lot of these people, their kids don't even go to our schools.
It really is a mental health issue, because I can't tell you how many times I had to go to the campus to pick up children of people that were either jailed or murder suicides. I had like 4 of those. Yeah. Murder suicides. The husband kills the wife and then kills himself. Right. And then we have to go get the kids. And we go, we were welcomed, and they said, how can we help you with these kids who are going to be traumatized from the fact that their mom and dad are dead? Yeah. But now they're fearful of you because they've created this narrative that anytime law enforcement comes on to the campus, as we're there to take them to Gitmo. Yeah. And it just creates this fear that didn't need to exist on top of the anxiety of what really happened. And that is their mom and dad are either in jail or have been killed. Mm-hmm. And it's just, this is really one of the most ridiculous times in my life as a parent. Yeah. And as a law enforcement officer, seeing the demonization of law enforcement when we are and have been protecting the community from the dangers of the evil people that are out there. And it's only the 1% of the community that commits crimes. Right. We've said this for years.
Well, and then just imagine too, like, I think I mentioned to somebody, the Yorba Linda High School bomb threat. They locked the school down. And so people are like, oh, there's people outside with their guns drawn. And so obviously there was an investigation that was taking place. Mm-hmm. But can you imagine if kids are so freaked out because law enforcement is on their campus, if they have their guns drawn or whatever, what would happen if now they flee out of the room because they're so freaked out, because they can't think straight, that they're here to investigate and to keep you safe, you know, and they start running, and then an officer goes and starts running after the kid, you know, and tackles them, or, you know, God forbid something happens. But I mean, it's just like there has to be a precedent that says, hey, we're going to cooperate with law enforcement. We're going to support them. And, you know, and I was thinking too, a lot of people were messaging me saying, I bet you all these anti-ICE protesters and stuff, they were probably really happy that OC sheriffs arrived at Yorba Linda High School so fast. And I mean, it isn't further from the truth. You know, they're there to protect the kids and the community.
On top of it all, you know, they think it's okay to go out there and interfere with law enforcement when they're trying to do their job by throwing things at them, rocks and bricks, and taking their gas canisters and throwing them back at them, whatever, driving their cars in a position to block them. That's all fine and dandy, and they applaud that. But could you imagine if somebody went into the classroom and started throwing rocks and bricks at the teacher when she was trying to teach? Well, and that's the thing, she's trying to do her job. Yeah. Who would they call?
Yeah, they would call the cops. And that's the thing too, is a lot of people have been saying is, what would happen if when the teachers are walking to school, you have people throwing rocks at you or spitting on you? Yep. I mean, it just wouldn't happen. But for some reason, people believe that it's okay to do it to law enforcement.
There's just one point on this one graphic that I saw. This is all Yorba Linda moms, ran by Bonnie Conte and Esther Kim, by the way. There's another one that says down here, the hashtag all lives matter. I could have sworn that was racist.
That's what I was told.
To say all lives matter.
When I said all lives matter, when I said blue lives matter, it was racist.
When did that change? I didn't get the notification that had changed.
I guess it's changed today.
But they can use it on this thing, right? when they're trying to indoctrinate kids. Mm-hmm. They also posted this walkout at El Dorado High School during class 10:30, while classes are happening. They, will then bring up something to the effect that you went and assisted a young girl at Esperanza High School who didn't like the fact that boys were going to the girls' bathrooms,
right?
Or a boy was going to the girls' bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't during school, was it?
No.
When was that?
It was before school.
Before school.
It was on a late start Wednesday, and they'd been filing Title IX violations against our district, and so I'm anticipating that the next Title IX violation will be happening. The complaint will be coming shortly, I'm sure. But yeah, they reached out and they said, hey, they want to do a walkout before school so it doesn't interrupt. It's not, true. And it was completely student led. Like they had the whole thing planned out. And I said, I will show up and support you, just as I showed up and supported the athletes at the Yorba High School track meet when they had the transgender male, coming in competing against them. So it was before school. They didn't miss class. They all got to class on time. So I'm not quite sure the parallels here, because I know that, it's pretty much was told a couple years ago that Esperanza High School, it was a lot of the teachers that I've been told, and parents and adults, teachers union. I mean, you have a lot of people who give you information, and even the students will give information. They'll say, oh no, this is the person who's organizing it. And so you kind of know who these people are that are organizing it, and it's adults, and they're organizing these kids, and it's sad. At least this girl, she did this all on her own. She came to the board meeting, spoke, she reached out. She told me about her Title IX complaints that she submitted to the district, things like that. So that was completely on her, which that's how it should be, because these kids need to find their voice. They don't need Yorba moms and OC Indivisible and all these adults, promoting these walkouts and how to do it. And, too, the rumbling is, the rumbling about the teachers at El Dorado that are actually helping these kids with it. I mean, you just don't need to do that.
No,
it just doesn't need to happen.
I can't imagine. I mean, I have a daughter who's at El Dorado, and another daughter that was there. We pulled her out because of this nonsense and homeschooled her. But they've all told me that they don't go to the restroom, and they hold it because they are afraid that a dude will be in there.
Yep.
And or some of the shenanigans. This is not something that we want our children to be worrying about when they're going to school for an education.
Yep. That
they have to worry about, well, if I'm, it's that time of the month, or I have to go to the bathroom, what do I do?
Yep.
I'm too afraid to go into the restroom because I don't know what's going to happen when I go in there.
Yep.
It's
sad.
Crazy.
It's sad.
So I want to bring up the reason that we're bringing this all up. This is a kid. I don't know if they're one of the students. You know if this is a student, one of our.
So if this is the same person, it looks like it is. She messaged me last night, and at first she was telling me about, she messaged me, and at first it was like, it seemed like a very mature student, and then when I responded, then it got into that I'm supporting Nazis and da da da. And I said, hey, you want to take a truant? That's fine. Have at it. But I think it's going to be very important that, because I know with the with Esperanza walkout, the principal at the time, Giles, wasn't giving out truants. He was just letting go. So we had no, parents had no idea. They weren't getting phone calls that their kids were out of school. We had no way to track these kids at all. So I would imagine that this time around, the kids will receive a truant. Like I said, hey, if receiving a truancy is worth it for democracy, as you say, then have at it. This is your democratic right.
It is. But also, I want to point out that these things that are said in this post are exactly what Governor Walz is saying, the Mayor Fry, Gavin Newsom, the news media, and teachers in our school district are saying, and this is why we have to stop this.
Right.
Because these are all non-existent. These things are not happening. So she says, allowing heavily armed masked thugs, kidnappers, killers with 6 weeks education walk into schools to snatch minors out of the classroom and throw them in prison is not political theater and disruptive to the education process. We will walk out anytime we want, and there is nothing you can do about it. And the last part, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But not based on lies.
No, yeah.
Nobody's getting kidnapped. As I said in my yesterday's video, and I'm sorry I didn't include you on it. Well, your name was.
My name, we can, we still have separate identities.
Yes, but kidnapping is a crime. Law enforcement, when they arrest somebody, is not kidnapping, and they're not being disappeared. Disappeared is what the mafia does when they kill somebody and put them in a wood chipper.
Yes,
nobody's being disappeared. Nobody's being put in wood chippers. You can track every step that is taken when somebody is taken into custody, all the way to when they're exported to another country.
Right.
Nobody's being disappeared.
Right.
And it's not happening to kids in school.
No.
And this narrative that was written here is how impressionable the kids are, is that they're hearing it from trusted adults and believing it. And then who knows, this child could be thinking about it all day long. They could be stressed and depressed because of what they've been taught by these so-called adults to really harm them and to create fear in these students. And this is what has been going on through the NEA and the CTA for years, through our U.S. history and white supremacy and all this. This is just an example of that it works.
Well, I mean, just how many years ago, a few years ago, or when I was running in 2020, the California Teachers Association was calling cops domestic terrorists. I mean, remember that? So you have this, but that's also too, this is why the district, like our board, needs to take leadership on this and come out with a resolution that yes, we will be, and then calm the fears of everybody. But then you have these people who want to stand with ICE and want to stand with law enforcement, and or don't want to stand. And look at what's happening with the kids. I mean, there was on the PYLUSD, they come out and they say all this nonsense. It's just like, it's the stupidest thing you ever said. So you try to ignore it, but they always tag me on X. So then this one person comes on and says, I'm a PYLUSD teacher and I will stand in the way of law enforcement if they don't have a warrant. Well, first of all, it's not your job.
Right.
If they're going to come into your classroom or they're going to ask a kid to come up to the office, that's not your job to ask ICE if there's a warrant. That's why you have administrators. That's why you have all these other things. But if you're in the classroom talking about propaganda and passing out ICE cards, I mean, we had a preschool teacher passing out ICE cards. Like, what are you doing? Sending it home in their take-home folder with their colors? I mean, it's just gotten out of control. And then the teachers who are pushing this propaganda on the kids, like, it's completely wrong. And we've worked hard over the years. How many times we go to Read Across America, and we visited schools. And we try to forge a relationship and trust with the community. And then we have these Yorba moms groups and the PYL Buzz groups and these people who are activists for the Democrat Party. They're absolutely just trying to destroy it. So it's actually quite gross.
It's sad. It's sad for the kids who, in my days in uniform, would go to schools and they would run to my police car and want to turn on the siren and pet my police dog and want to wear the equipment that we have. And there was so much love for law enforcement.
They ask you to can you handcuff me?
Yes.
No. You don't want me to handcuff you with these things. They're very
You don't want to ever be handcuffed.
You don't ever want to be handcuffed.
And they're nasty.
They're so gross.
If we showed them the people that they've been on.
I remember one time we had a really bad, like, I think there was a bleed. Something was up. And I remember we dropped the handcuffs in bleach, and then like the bleach just kind of, so like we lost our handcuffs, but we couldn't have used it. Had we not tried it to drop it in like some bleach, we wouldn't have been able to use them again. But oh man, you do not ever want to be handcuffed, and you don't ever want to be in the back of a police car because that place is filthy also. So those are just like some.
But they would ask for badges.
Badges.
Stickers. You got stickers?
Yeah. Do you have stickers? Do you have this? Do you have color? We used to have coloring books.
Yeah. If the teachers union has anything to do with it, that will no longer be
that's Nazi propaganda.
That's Nazi propaganda. The police officers are here to keep you safe, to protect you, and to be respected. And not because I was one. It's just the way that it was, and the way that it should be, because you need to know where to go when you're in trouble. And not be fearful to call them.
No.
What's next on our agenda?
So we hit with the Yorba moms, and they're, I don't know what we call it, nonsense. I think too with this post, like Bonnie Conte, agree, and anyone who doesn't like the post or the fact that kids are exercising their Democrat rights, please scroll on past. And then she posts the walkout thing. But the fact of the matter is Bonnie has been reaching out to people, and this is just concerning, is if somebody likes a post of ours, if somebody likes our show, if someone is actually out there, she's messaging them. And she's saying, how dare you be friends with these people? So the whole thing is and people are coming forward and they're saying, hold on, I'm an adult. I can choose what posts I like. Like, where is this? It's almost like a narcissist to sit here and say that you're going to just message people that you barely know and give them crap for liking our stories. I mean, is she like, that's, I don't know. I don't want to say anything more than that, but I also find it funny how she, like, they constantly go on there. They make fun of my makeup. I'm a MAGA makeup, apparently. I don't know. I didn't know there was MAGA makeup. Yeah. It's not my brand, but, you know, so they make fun of makeup. They call me unwell. They call me unhinged. They call me all these things just because I'm standing up for ICE and law enforcement. But then they say, oh, but if anybody else goes out and says anything to them, it's like, oh my gosh, how is this? But so it's just the most bizarre. Like you said, we are living in the most bizarre world possible, where people, adult women, bully other adults into it's like a Mean Girls club. But then they want to go out and say whatever the heck they want. But like, oh my gosh, if you post about me or say anything about me, like, we're gonna lose our minds. Like, so if you want to post crap about people, then you better be able to, like, you know, to take it. I mean, I think a lot of people aren't quite used to, you know, somebody actually responding back to them, and that's the problem. And you know,
there are a lot of people that don't like what they say, but they don't say anything.
Yeah, they just scroll. Like,
that's not love. No. I had to write a comment on something that somebody wrote on my Facebook, talking about hate.
Right.
And it said, being truthful is not hate.
Exactly.
But they're taking truthfulness as hate, or telling them the truth about this gender issue.
Yeah.
Knowing well that, I just wanted to read this really quick in just a second. But the science behind genders is that there's two genders.
Right.
And then when you point out to the fact that no matter how much surgery, chemicals you put in your body, whether you cut things off or not, is never going to turn a man into a woman.
Right.
They're still a man. Right. Now they just don't have a penis.
Right.
That they cut off. As law enforcement, I don't know if you ever had any of these calls. I think I had 2 of them in the 21 years where a guy did cut off his own penis. Oh, and we would take that person to the loony bin.
Right.
And they would be 5150'd. They tried to reattach whatever appendage they took off, but those were crazy people.
Who was the officer who had to put that on ice?
That was a rookie. Whoever showed up there with the least amount of years on. And then that was just like everybody. There was nobody ever thought that it wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
But now what they're doing is, it's not going on as much, as because now, of course, we have a new president. But we had hospitals that were actively participating in taking young children and beginning to, what kind of surgery? I forgot what they call it now.
Gender transition surgery.
Gender transition surgery. Doing that very thing that we would arrest somebody, take somebody into 5150 custody because they wanted to do the same thing as adults.
Yes.
But no, it's okay if you're a parent to approve it for a child, or if you're a doctor to do it. This is a very odd time. So I just want to go back. Sorry, we're going to go back to Bonnie Conte for a second, but Karen writes a great post here, or comments. It's funny how she wants others to ignore posts we don't like in her group, but she can't take her own advice when she doesn't like what she sees.
Well, and the thing too is that, they're coming onto our pages and they're trying to screenshot things or do whatever, to come find it. So the amount of just, like, I don't know, it's just ludicrous. I don't really like go looking around at the Yorba. I mean, I'm blocked from the Yorba Linda Moms page anyways. They kicked me out. I was speaking too much truth, during the election. So, but it's kind of insane how they want to just run this narrative and the people on there. I mean, like, you have Janice Lim on there, who is fully supporting them, and you have, all these people. I mean, it's really a propaganda tool. Like, I put up in a post that I was going live with you, but it is. Yorba Linda Moms is a propaganda page because they're only posting things from their viewpoint, what they want, and they're trying to change the community, which I did run into someone a few years ago, and they said that they are actually trying to infiltrate more and more Democrats into conservative communities to take it over. So that's how they fundamentally change things. And I will say too, people always say, this is conservative Yorba Linda. Well, we're also, tied to Placentia, which is maybe 50-50. But I also tell people, I said, do you think every teacher and staff member in our district lives in Yorba Linda? Like, I mean, the last teachers union president that was, inciting all the hate and all the the misinformation. She didn't live in Yorba, she lived out in Corona. So it's one of those things where, you say, yes, we have you send your kids wanting these values, but they don't necessarily share the values of the community. And that's why you have a school board.
Yep. So we have this post, quick message from the admin. If you message fellow members of this page, calling them names like mentally ill and so on, you will be removed from the group. The unsolicited insulting and antagonizing PMs. Good new rule. People are dicks. Sorry for my language. I'm just reading what's written. And then Esther Kim says at the 11 p.m. threatening text will go down in history. And of course, the phone call to you. So
it sounds like Yorba Linda Moms is imploding. Like, I don't even know why you would put this stuff out there, because it absolutely sounds like they're imploding.
Haven't met many of these people. No, not many, but I know for sure. Esther Kim, I remember you talking about that she text messages you, your neighbor.
She's my neighbor.
She text message you things.
Weird
I think
things.
Other people have text messaged you.
Oh, yeah. Well, so no, the latest. And I wasn't even going to talk about it to give it any type of credibility, but probably since like October, people are calling me from those like numbers where you can't look them up. They come in a spam list. I've been sung to. I've been called that, bunch of derogatory names. I'm racist. I'm homophobic. I'm all these things. And then they text me. So like during after this live, I'm going to get a bunch of texts because they're going to get triggered. But if you notice things that go on in social media, they start texting me. And it's from these like, that they say fraud, racist. What about the Epstein files? Like just stupid stuff. And then so the other night at like 1 a.m., I don't know, like the Epstein files were released today, 3 million pages. How about it, guys? But then like at 1 a.m. the other night, 5 or 6 of these calls come in at 1 a.m. Like just trying to harass. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. So these people are either drunks or they just are up in the middle of the night stewing and thinking about me, which is like, I've never had a group think about me so much.
Does your husband think about you that much?
I don't think he does. I think he probably goes to work. He's like, got a little downtime.
But what I find strange about that is that they're doing all this. We know they're doing this. I see it on all my social media. I see it. I get texts and I get phone calls all day long, like 20 or 30 of them, and hang-ups and stuff like that. And then they go on there and say, anybody does this is going to be kicked out. Like if anybody does what I'm doing,
you're going to get kicked out. It's just it's bizarre.
I can do it all day long, but you do it to me. And it's over. You're not doing that anymore.
So I think the main thing is I'm sure finishing up our ICE conversation is this resolution is just about supporting law enforcement and also making sure that we have guidelines that the teachers do not need to be taking action. The things that you're saying in the classroom. I mean, what happens if like law enforcement came in and just badmouth teachers and said all teachers are like terrible, like everywhere? Like what would the teachers, like teachers would be up in arms. They'd be like, what? They'd want to fire the law enforcement officers from coming in, like if they did that. And so I think that there just has to be leadership and we have to be the ones to give it. And you know what, if cooperating with ICE and law enforcement is suddenly a political issue, then I don't know, like where we have we've gone absolutely crazy.
Nowhere to go. We need some principals to take charge and stop being cowards and tell their teachers, okay, what we need you to do, I know this is going to sound strange, but we need you to teach. Real stuff from the curriculum that you are approved to teach from. Stop all this stop printing ICE cards and giving them to your kids. Stop saying that, Abraham Lincoln was a racist and had nothing to do with freeing the slaves. Which is being taught.
Well, then that was the thing too, is my one son who was at Esperanza, my second son, they were doing in his history class, they were doing something on Civil War. And so they wanted Civil War heroes. So he says, I'm going to choose Abraham Lincoln. He says, no, you can't do that. You can only choose people who are Black. And he says, but Abraham Lincoln was a hero from Civil War. He goes, no.
Wow.
So, so they're even telling these kids who the heroes can and cannot be.
Your hero cannot be those people.
Your hero cannot be a white person who freed the slaves. Like, isn't that the whole premise of the Civil War?
And for sure cannot be a law enforcement officer.
No. And so I did email, and I think he did do, I think he ended up doing Abraham Lincoln. But I mean, come on here, like what they're pushing in the classroom is actually insane. And that's with critical race theory ban. They were teaching implicit bias. They were teaching all kinds of things. They were putting a new name on it. And so the emails I had sent, they were trying to, I didn't say that it was this bias. Well, it doesn't matter that you didn't say it. you're teaching the bias without putting a name on it.
Right. Let's see what Karen has good comments. She gave a great speech at the board meeting.
She really did.
She was fantastic.
She really did.
Yorba moms have gone full Marxist with their posts and dictates now. It's been fascinating to watch the progression as they kick more and more non-compliance out of the group.
Well, I think that's where someone was telling me, like PYL Buzz, I like to call them PYL Scuzz, but they were saying that they've kicked out so many people, and it's been like, but it's the same people running Yorba and Moms running PYL Buzz. Yep. I mean, it's the same people, because you would see things go up in Yorba and Moms, and boom, like 2 seconds later, it would go up in PYL Buzz. So, and everyone said who's actually running it. So we do know who's running it, but it's just an echo chamber anymore for people. They just talk. It's the same people. It's the same 5 or 6 people that are talking. And then while we're on social media, before we go into the Title IX stuff.
Yep.
So the other day too, what was very interesting was Yorba Buzz and Placentia Buzz would not allow an update from me to be put up. So I went into Yorba Buzz. Obviously, there was the initial, when we had the bomb threat at Yorba High School, there was the initial, thing, like somebody put it up, like everyone's like, why is this happening? Why is that happening? So my phone's blowing up. So I get the information, and then I go and I looked and I saw, and they just said, like, they posted the sheriff's one that says, we are responding to this. Well, then people are like, well, why is there a lockdown? Why is this? So I explained to them in a post, hey, there's a threat, and this is why your kids are in lockdown. And this is, don't be, with the investigation, you have to keep them locked down during the investigation, keep them safe. Don't be alarmed if there's dogs that start coming or other, resources start coming. And so I tried to post that on Yorba Buzz with Alan Zakarian, the far left guy who absolutely hates me, hates Todd, hates conservatives. Misty Jansen voted for him for mayor or for city council. She wrote him in, mind you. Yeah. So he won't let it go. And then so I put in the comments, because you know me.
Yep.
Like, hey, I'm trying to give you guys an update here, but they erased my comment. And so this is how deranged these people are who are running these pages.
Parents are wanting information. And social media is sometimes some people's way of learning things.
Things pop up. So parents want information. People are asking questions. And so I have just gotten off the phone with the superintendent with the information. So I'm putting it out. And they would rather, instead of allowing my comment to inform the community, they would rather just keep the community in the dark, which is what has been happening for a long time, because I would post things directly in from the district. It's not even my comments. It's straight from the district into the Yorba Buzz or the Placentia Buzz, and they won't let it go. They won't let it stand. And so Alan Zakarian would message me and say, this is fake news. So you're saying that the Placentia Yorba School District is pushing out fake news.
Right.
So, that's just how insane these people are, that they would rather just not allow the community to have information because they just want to silence the conservatives or people that they don't like.
It's always they're trying to instill fear constantly. All right. So we got Title IX coming up here. Let's see what comments we have. Karina has some good comments. I'm just going to leave that one alone because it's really good. Sincerely asking, did the whistleblowers come to Yorba High School and protest the sheriff showing up? Or were they good with the sheriff's department protecting their kids?
That's a great question. I know that I had calls from parents who were outside of the school, and they were asking me what's going on, and they just felt like they couldn't leave, because they were like, if something's really happening and all these kids need to evacuate, they were trying to stay around to be helpful. Yeah.
I'm sure most parents were thankful that Orange County Sheriff showed up.
I'm sure they were.
Even those with parents that may or may not be here legally. They
I'm
want their kids to be safe.
Yeah.
The dad that we saw in the video that was being arrested, and he ran and left this kid in the snow.
I know.
What parent? I just don't understand. If I'm a parent and I did something, I love my kids so much that I said, leave them out of it. Take me into custody. Call such and such. Take care of them. Nothing in my being would cause me to leave my kids to suffer what I created.
Yeah. Yep.
But everybody seems to go, no, it's horrible that the kid was taken and fed food. Yeah. It's horrible that they kept him warm.
But the thing too is then why didn't the family members open the door for the kid? They wouldn't open the door. It's so bizarre. And then the ICE gets excoriated because they took them with him. Because what do? You can't leave. Now, you see a 5-year-old, as a police officer, if you see a kid running around on the sidewalk, unattended, like you can't just keep going.
No.
You have to stop and you have to, okay, well, where is this kid's parent? Because it's a danger. Like
but ICE can't do that.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre. And I think that's another thing with this resolution is these are the stuff that needs to be talked about. It has to be addressed.
Yeah. Just one last thing Karen says, but Alan let his BFF Matt post info from the district.
Yeah.
Just not you.
No.
If it comes from you.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
And
it's actually kind of funny. Yeah. It's actually funny that these people are like so
mentally ill.
Well, you said
it. Okay. Title IX.
Yes.
So we got a letter. You got a letter, or we got something?
Yeah,
that we need to share?
I can read it if you can. I don't know if you should put it up on the screen,
yeah,
but
a little bit even bigger.
Okay. So on June 6, 2025, the U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights received a complaint against the Placentia Yorba Unified School District. The complaint alleges that the district school board voted to allow biological males to compete in female sports. OCR enforces Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 and its implementing regulation at 34 CFR Part 106, which prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex in any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. As a recipient of federal financial assistance from the department, the district must comply with this law. OCR is opening an investigation to examine whether the district has a policy or practice of allowing male students to participate in athletic programs designated for female students in violation of Title IX and its implementing regulation. And then, part two.
I'm sorry.
No, good. So then part 2 says, OCR's initiative of investigation is not itself evidence of a violation of federal civil rights laws and regulations. During the investigation, OCR is neutral. It will collect and analyze the evidence, so on and so forth. And then, so it just asks, this next part just asks for evidence. But so I was correct. I was kind of like guessing the last time I was live with you about why we're under Title IX investigation, but now we know for sure it's because the majority of our school board voted to support violating Title IX and to breaking Title IX. But then also too, you have that Girls Inc. Like, allowing boys in there. And then there's this latest one out of El Dorado. Somebody just sent it to me where it's like another coding thing for girls. And so they're saying that girls can go in it and non-binary men or males. But like, what about regular males? Like, that was my question. Like, if we're going to do that, why don't you say it's open to everybody? So it's just bizarre, the things that are going on in this district. And I feel like we continue, like the boys and girls sports, okay, the boys press bathroom, and now boys infiltrating or non-binary people infiltrating these programs.
I have a question about this non-binary.
Please don't ask me a lot about it. I don't know. I've had to look up pansexual the last couple of days. I've had to look up. I'm just so confused.
So if a boy going into these things, what's the rule? What does it mean to be non-binary or binary in the sense that if do they have to dress like a girl in order to get in there, or can they just say that they're a girl? Because there's girls who wear just t-shirts and pants.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, that's what I asked. Like, when the boys are going into, like, because this has been happening at Esperanza for a long time in El Dorado, these boys going into the girls' bathrooms, all they say is identify. I identify as a girl today. It's like, okay. Like, somebody online says, you're not unless you're native, like, she's talking them nonsense. But, we're all immigrants unless you're native. And I said, well, maybe I identify as a native. I mean, like, that's just what we could all start saying. I just identify this way. Who's that one guy? Josh? Is it Josh? Somebody who runs around. I love his Instagram stuff where he says that he's trans native or something.
Oh yeah. What's that guy's name?
He's
hysterical.
Funny.
So I'm wondering if Quintero, Anderson, and Buck are in the women's restroom using the commode. If Chris Anderson, for instance, it's just a random name. It's just a random name I threw out there. Just like said, I feel feminine today. Then do you think that's all is necessary to be able to go in the women's restroom?
It should be if it's good for the students.
You say, excuse me, are you almost done?
Yeah, no, I mean, if somebody wants to go and stand in that women's bathroom for the entire board meeting.
I'm not sure I would want to.
I don't think you'd want to. But if they did and they said, I identify as a female, then that would be fine.
Do they not see the ridiculousness in this?
I don't think they do.
They go, it's okay for the girls and the students to do it in the schools, but if you at a PYLUSD board meeting when they would call Placentia PD. They say, get in here. There's a man inside our restroom.
Yeah, because it's not happening to them. It's not happening to them. So that's why. If it's happening to them, then they don't like it. But it's all about, as long as they're comfortable and things are good with them, then everybody just carries on. But when it happens to them, that's when they react. They don't know anything about, protecting protecting people at all times.
Yeah.
I mean, they say, oh, well, like somebody said to me, you're not protecting 100% of the students. Well, actually, yes, I am.
Yeah. We
actually are. So.
Yeah. Well, Bonnie Conte, bringing her back into this again, there was a comment she made. I think somebody sent it to me from, maybe from Yorba Moms. I don't even know. Mm-hmm. Where I believe it was in bold letters or all caps, that said, there's 0 transgender. Is it women or is it men? If it's a boy who's trying to be a girl, are they transgender? I don't even know. A boy who is saying he's a girl, whatever that is.
I think that's a transgender female.
Okay. That there's 0 of them competing in sports in PYLUSD. Well, and that was a hit on you. I go, well, even more reason why your not agenda, but your resolution is significant for us here in the PYLUSD. We don't want men coming into our district or into our sports when we're hosting them and coming into our girls. That's how much we love our girls in PYLUSD. That we don't want a crazy man coming into the girls' restroom, going to the locker room, or competing against them on the field. Right. I don't know how she thought that was a dig.
Well, and
it's strange thinking.
It's very strange because she says there's none, but then yes, we do have them coming into our district to play.
Yes.
And then she said that there was only 1. No, there's actually 10.
Yeah.
So a little bit of research probably next time would be good.
That would help. Any more on the Title IX?
No. So that was just everything that.
So this is in motion. This is happening.
In motion. So I think we were supposed to respond by January 26th with the response to, and I haven't seen it, but it. We were correct. It is because the board majority chose to side with CIF, the state, and actually violate Title IX. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how much money this is going to cost us now. And if
that's what I was going to ask you. What's the consequence?
So technically we could possibly lose federal funding, or we might have to pay a fine. So that's just less than money. Yeah. It's just on top of their phony investigations and top of all the investigations where they're now being investigated. I mean, it's just it just keeps coming.
The hiring of an attorney at twice the cost that it cost before for horrible advice.
Yeah.
That has gotten them into this trouble.
Yes.
Following the advice of Todd Robbins is much of the reason why we're in this predicament to begin with.
Yeah. And then I think that they removed him from board council, but I've been fighting. They want to put him in as HR counsel. And my whole thing is why do we continue I think it's the board majority's wanting him to have a piece in there, but it's for protection. They want him to sit in there to protect them. But like I've said too, is I'm aware of people who have filed complaints and have formal complaints that have to be investigated. And if that law firm, and there's people in that law firm who were making statements and doing all these things, technically his stuff leading up to before he was hired, he doesn't have any, what is it called?
Immunity.
Yeah, he doesn't have the immunity. There's no.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you too. Yeah. If you know the answer to the question, because as a police officer, you know that ignorance of the law is no excuse for committing a crime. Right. That just because you didn't know it was a crime, you still get arrested because people know the difference between right and wrong. Can the three school board members, can they say, well, we're just following attorney's advice?
I don't think so, because what I believe was put in play before, I believe when they were all, I believe there was collusion with an employee to file the complaint. And there was people from Atkinson, Anderson, Loyola, Roma that were calling over that already knew about a complaint that was going to be filed. They're waiting for the board majority and the law firms and stuff to change. You don't have any immunity. You don't have any privilege up until that point because he was not the attorney. So that everything is fair game. Phone records, texts, emails, all that stuff is fair game. So that's the whole thing is why would we allow him, who's been protecting them, the violation. We were sitting that night, everybody knew Marylin had violated policy, procedure. All kinds of things. And he sat there and said nothing. But that was the thing too, in 2022, when we found out that we had illegal contracts because there was no termination clause. And so the response when it was asked about that, he says, well, I did advise them. But the board was never advised that these contracts were illegal. He says, well, I told them, but they could do what they want with it. But then, so you're basically like, so in my, like through this whole thing and talking about that, and this is not like closed session or anything, it was, conversations outside. So essentially you're saying, well, I advised him, but I'm going to let somebody like basically withhold information from the board and write his own contract so there's no termination clause.
Wow.
Which then caused, so when we hired Huff, he immediately saw that and had to go in and rectify all these contracts, which cost our district money because we had to pay for new contracts.
Wow. Going back to the men and the women's restroom there at the board meeting, Karen brings up a good point. It's like how they didn't want sexually explicit books that was available in one of our school libraries to be read by a parent at the board meeting because there are children present.
Yes.
It's the same crazy thinking.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's no critical thinking. Like that post. People are not getting the post of the child talking about him being chased and all that kind of stuff. That's the problem, is that people will read that and go, oh my gosh, that's horrible. And just they don't take the time to critically think and say, wait a minute, you were taken to jail?
Yeah. So
they were chasing you because you committed a crime.
Yeah. That was the first thing that stood out to me was they chase. And I go, oh, so you're running. Like, okay. Like that's enough right there.
Right. It's crazy. All right. This one last little screenshot I have here. This looks at like an interesting post. What is this that we're looking at?
So that's OC Indivisible. And that's who the Yorba moms look like they're posting or they're like colluding with, or they're pushing out their stuff. And so this OC Indivisible is the one who is really pushing out all of these walkouts and these protests at these schools. And I can pretty much tell you that these are adults that are pushing all this stuff. So that's why I just said, Yorba moms is tagging them or they're, whatever they're doing on social media, but they're pushing out their stuff, so.
What is that? It's not colluding with, but on Instagram, it is co-authoring or something like that.
I don't know. Like they're sharing they're hitting on the stories, like they're sharing their stories and then they're tagging them. Like they're being tagged and stuff like that. So people can go look to see what the happenings are, which I think is just bizarre, but I noticed too that they do, we've had a lot of Pride at the Pier colluding with when we were doing the men and women's sports. And so there's all these groups who come in, like this is a bigger thing than what people actually know. Like we're going to start getting these, stuff from, we're already getting these emails from people who are knee deep in the Democrat Party and the teachers union stuff who are like doing what the Yorba moms is propaganda, their propaganda. Oh, email the board, tell them to put a stop to this, do this, do that. And so it's, it's highly coordinated. They're very, very well coordinated. Very well coordinated. And it's just a shame, like sometimes people say, why are you the only one speaking out? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know why, like, we don't have, and I do like our 4 city council members, but I do think that they should be coming out and saying, you know what, like we support ICE and law enforcement. I think all of these people should be coming out and saying that, and like, I think people are like worried about the backlash that you get, but like, look I'm still standing. This has been 5 years of this. I'm still here. I'm still standing. Like, it's okay. Like everybody's going to be okay, but somebody has to be the person to bring truth to the community. And like, I'm sorry. It always has to be me, but like when you have Yorba moms that's pushing propaganda against a superintendent, his children, they said my kids were arrested for felonies. Like they said one of my kids was caught smoking pot in the Esperanza bathroom when he was in the Marine Corps. So he's not even at Esperanza. Like they put all of these things in, and that would have been like the least likely of kids to do any of that. So
should have picked the other one.
Yeah, I was like, him? I'm like, really? So it was one of those things where you're just like, this is so ludicrous. Yeah. But they'll push it and they'll push it and push it, and then they want you to back off. Like if you've noticed, we have never said 2 words about Bonnie. Bonnie or Esther is always the mouthpiece and the one that's doing all the hit jobs. And, Esther wants to accuse, me of all kinds of things and accuse my kids of crimes. And Bonnie, like they let all the stuff fly. But if you notice, when we sit in here and we call out what they're doing, do we ever talk about their husband? Do we ever talk about their kids? Do we ever talk about anybody like that? No. Why would we? That's like ridiculous.
No. When I thought it was a child on the post, I covered up their
you covered up their name. Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta wonder why more people aren't speaking up. I call this into question all the time, as you guys that watch my show or the Living Fearless devotional, is that so many people are worried about losing their job or losing a client or losing a friend or a family member. But when you're speaking the truth, when it's for protecting children, when it's protecting your own children, there should be nothing that's more important than that. Just to tell you a few things, I had several huge contracts with police departments all over the nation. And once I began to speak truth about certain things that were happening in law enforcement, they all canceled their contracts. And I said, well, that's the price for telling the truth. And there was nothing, I was not going to stop because it's important that we have professionals doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. And, Border Patrol has been one of the, I think it's the most common department that I look at on a regular basis, and they are very professional. They're trained. They have more than 6 days of training, as according to that thing. They all go through academy. They all have to go through background investigations. It's nothing of what people are trying to say.
Well, and a lot
but they are a professional organization, and even in court cases that I've been in other states, in Philadelphia, and I've been in Minnesota, and they will bring up my posts and say, is it true that you said on social media that there's only two genders? And I say,
what does that have to do with the dog bite?
Yeah, does that have to do with this criminal case? And I'll say, yes. Yeah, I did say that, because you know why? Because it's the truth. And just like that, I'm here to tell you the truth about the case that I'm involved in. And so it affects me, but it doesn't stop me. I'm here to tell the truth. The price for my children's lives and their physical health and mental health is more than a contract with a large police department. The value of that is greater. So whatever. I've had people put on, I think, I'm not going to say who did it, but people that we've been talking about put bad Yelp reviews on my business. That's a pretty common tactic. And so all these things happen. Those of you that have not spoken up because you're afraid of losing something, or somebody will say something bad about you, you got to just say, okay, the truth and the lives of your children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews is far more important than whatever it is you think you're going to lose. So sorry, I just had to get that off my chest.
No. And I was going to say too, I find it, I kind of find it insane that these people are saying that they don't have the training and they don't have all of these things, because like most of Border Patrol are prior law enforcement. Some are retired law enforcement, ICE, things, retired. But then also too, we have our military. A lot of military go into ICE and law enforcement. And so to kind of say like, oh, they lack this training, or they lack this or that. And I've told people too, federal is different than, police. And like, that's the whole thing. People go, why are these kids at El Dorado and Valencia? Why are they walking out and going to the Placentia Police Department? And I said, I don't think that they realize that they are two completely different things. You have a city police department, and then you have ICE is federal. Like, they don't even understand the correlation between the two. It's like, so you're going to go protest your SROs. Like, I don't know. Like, it's, an SRO is a school resource officer. But that's essentially what these kids are doing. They're walking down to Placentia Police, which is kind of a long ways, I think, but whatever. And then you're going to go protest the people who are keeping your campuses safe. So I don't know what to say about some of this.
This is a timely comment. Somebody puts on here, 40% of registered voters are independent. Both of you are close to being minorities. I will dispute that in a second. If 50% of registered voters decide to go independent, both of you are a minority. We're sick of it.
We're sicko?
Oh, we're sicko. Yeah. Okay. We need a third party, and we're getting close. Okay. So I just want to share something with you, is that what I was going to end on anyway, but it was perfect timing, is that for all of you that are watching, I know many of you are going to wake up and you're going to participate in protecting what is right in this country, what is right about this great constitutional republic that we are living in, and for law enforcement and for our children. And I know it feels like you're a small minority group, and like this person seems to think also. Again, they're listening to the wrong newscast apparently, or whatever it is they're listening to. But this was the country in the last vote, and that is really what is happening. And many of those little blue spots are going to go away because of the fraud that they've uncovered, actual fraud the FBI is investigating. That some of those blue little spots, they're going to find out were actually red. So it's not going to get less red as they are uncovering this stuff. It's going to get more red. So I look at this map often. Benny Johnson has it on his show too, in his background. because it's a good reminder that when we feel like we're alone because of, you know, whatever we're consuming as social media and that kind of thing, it can seem like we're in a minority, like this person believes. But when you look at that map, and this was just 2024, this is just a year ago, this is what happened in that election, and those are the people that voted red. And again, that is probably not the truth either. It's more red. Right. It's not more blue.
Right.
And then once we get most of the criminal illegal aliens out of this country,
which are being used, and this whole thing too is like, why would you? I mean, I know that they want to keep winning elections, but you're using these illegal immigrants. You're buying them off for your vote because the people in your own country do not like what you're pushing. I mean, imagine if like somebody said like, so the whole Greenland thing. Yes. What if we imported a bunch, like we put 100,000 Americans in Greenland, and all of a sudden they started voting a certain way, and then we took over that. I mean, that's essentially what they're doing.
Right.
And so I know we're going to end.
Well, it's not working because you got California and I think it's New York. I think there's a third state where they're losing congressional seats because so many people are moving out that they actually are losing, and the red states are the ones that are gaining. So this is a ridiculous statement. I appreciate you commenting, because the more people comment, the more they'll push it out to other people to see it. So thank you. Keep commenting. And then I'd love the discussion. I didn't call you nitwit or call you stupid. I just says that I think that that's a narrative that's just not true based on what we can see from the 2024 election and what's currently happening with the voter rolls and all the other things.
Well, and I think you've shown so much growth in the last few years.
Thank you.
You're not a nitwit. No. And can we? No nitwit. No, whatever the words you used to call.
I laughed half as much.
Yes.
I reduced it down. I'm getting so much more mature.
Yes. And so I was going to say too, somebody was asking about the nutrition committee. What have I found? And we can't laugh. Like, please don't laugh. So somebody asked how Marylin Anderson was put on a nutrition committee. Well, it kind of finds like, so over the last like year, I've wondered why the Valencia Kitchen push and all these pushes for these big fancy freezers and refrigerators and stuff like that. So apparently, for what I'm finding out now, this is just the update, is that the person who's receiving all the kitchens and refrigerators and all these things was contacted. So she's, I think, the executive director of nutrition services. This is the story we're getting. I mean, so if someone wants to correct me, she reached out and said, hey, there's this committee at the county, a nutrition committee. And so normally what happens is they would talk to the superintendents, the person, if they found a committee and it was open to board members or whatever, they would push it over to everybody. And so now it sounds like they're just giving it to one person. And then like, oh, this is like a little bit inside. So it could be a little pay to play. You want to get yourself on a committee, you know, but normally that is not the way that things happen in the district. But as you can see, the last over a year now, people are just not abiding by how things are. Like this would be unheard of for an executive director to reach out to a board member and say, hey, I found a committee for you to, you know, put into. Usually you'd send it to the superintendent secretary. She would send it out to a board member and say, this is for all of you guys to apply. So who's to say that she didn't, and that Marylin said, don't push it out and just apply for it herself. But so that's where we are with that. We're not going to make any other comments about it.
I just have a question.
Okay.
Why is it that you have somebody that has been proven incompetent at one job, being president of the board for an entire year?
Yeah.
Proven incompetent has cost us more money in lawsuits and illegal investigations, and we could go on. It'd be another hour telling you things that she could not do and did poorly and cost our district so much money. How do you take somebody that has failed at everything and then put them in responsible for something as important as our children's health?
Well, because I think what we're looking at in our district is that people want to turn us out, and there was a coordinated effort to get him out. And so this is like a lot of these things that happen and the information that's given. You know, they always say, oh, everything's supposed to go like through the superintendent, or the superintendent knows, like, you know, all these things. So you have all these different departments now just giving tidbits of information to certain board members who they politically align with. So you have somebody who is not, who the community is severely concerned that she is now in charge of their children's nutrition. I mean, I would be concerned. Like, I think the first thing that should be done is all those snacks in the back that they all eat, the Cheez-Its, the Oreos, all that. Like, why is that still back there? That would have been my first thing. I said, get rid of it. Get rid of it all. No seed oils, no processed foods. Like, we're going to take a stand. but but that's their snacks. That's what they eat. So,
I don't know about you, but I had a trainer that I worked with. And when I was selecting the trainer, the one I selected was the one that had the most muscles and was strong and healthy, had a six pack, not because I was attracted to him. He had tattoos on his face and all that kind of stuff. Great guy. He came to church with me, accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior after spending 8 months with me.
Yeah.
But I selected him based on his appearance.
Yes.
I mean, this is one of those things where you will select somebody based on what they look like.
Yeah.
And that's an important.
Well, it's important to know what you're there to advocate for nutrition and for health and for students. And if you don't follow these protocols, and if you don't follow this and you're in there advocating, then you're going to come back and tell a bunch of people, hey, this is what I think. You have lost all credibility. Nobody's gonna believe you. Nobody's gonna want you to be in charge of your children's nutrition. It's kind of crazy. So
wow. So on that note,
yeah.
Oh, back to this map. Look at this. Yay. Hope. That gives you hope. You're not alone. You are not alone. I promise you. You just got to keep fighting. You got to speak up. I mean, how can it be that red and have so few people speaking up? That's one of the problems. Well,
I think the thing is what we have to realize is that this can't be our parents, Republican Party anymore. Parents, even the independent movement, it was always like, oh, you shouldn't speak up. You shouldn't say this. What will people think? It's just going to cause problems. But we've had this one side that's not afraid to speak up, not afraid to go out there and throw things at officers and obstruct and to do all these things and to somehow say that that's peaceful protest, burning stuff down. But then, for me, I'll speak up about it. And it's almost like I've done these things, just speaking the truth. And so people just can't be afraid. And I'm happy to be everybody's mouthpiece. I really am. It's what you guys elected me to do. But the more that we band together and the more that we stand up for truth and the more that we come into the schools and say, you're not going to teach my kid this. You're not going to say this to my kid. You're not going to tell them to evade ICE. How many law enforcement officers are upset right now at our district because these teachers are passing out these ICE cards and saying these things in the classroom? Somebody said today that one of the teachers at one of the middle schools just plays CNN all day. Nothing to do. Wow. Nothing to do with their curriculum. Just plays it. So they're So
it's funny. There's a lot of cops that have kids in our school.
Oh, there's so many.
I go, my children come all the time. Hey, do you know such and such?
Yeah.
I go, yeah.
Yeah.
I go, how is it my kids find all the kids whose parents are cops?
Yeah.
It's constant. No matter what school they go to, there must be a lot because if my kid can't just be searching out. They just happen to be friends with somebody. They said, oh, we know your dad.
Yeah.
All right. So we got to go because I got to go.
Yes, you do. You got to go pick up your kids.
I got kids in elementary school, junior high, and high school currently. I'm affected by all of this nonsense.
And
Thankfully,
you're so young. How did you have so many
I don't
kids?
know. I was very young when it started. The good news is the ones that are in school are very strong conservative Christians, and we talk about it all the time. And they go, "Can you believe what I was just told today?"
Yeah.
And then we laugh. All right, my friends.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Love you guys. God bless. Take
Bye.
care.